Hi there, my name is Mark Fabian. I'm a professor in the universities of Warwick and Cambridge in the United Kingdom, and I've got a book coming out called Beyond Happy, How to Rethink Happiness and Find Fulfilment. And I want to talk a little bit here about why you should read this book, why it would be beneficial to you. The main reason is that this book answers everything you might possibly want to know about happiness and well-being. That's a slight exaggeration. There's maybe a couple of things missing from that, like mysticism, certain states of mind, but honestly, this is the most comprehensive, popular book that's ever been written about happiness and well-being. I've been working on this topic for 20 years, both in a personal and professional capacity. I've published on it in academic journals in philosophy, sociology, public policy, economics, psychology, all of it. I've been writing for popular audiences. I've also been writing for specialist audiences. Everyone loves it. This book covers everything. It's not just a blog post that's going to be going for 200 pages. Every single section of the book is bringing you mad bombs, really good ideas, a lot of depth, a lot of sophistication, covering all the bases. What are some of those bases? Well, the book's broken up into 3 parts. The first part is about how to live a pleasant life. The second part is about how to live a fulfilling life. And the third part is about how to live a valuable life. In that first part around pleasantness, we've got to start with getting the right attitude to life. And that's mostly about understanding that you're wired by evolution to generally not be too depressed or not too ecstatic. It's hard to stay in either one of those moods. You tend to come back to a kind of baseline, normal, moderate level, right? So it's hard to sustain positive moods. You also tend to be a little bit dissatisfied with your life, or you can at least see ways that it could be better. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to understand that that's the way we're wired. That's the kind of reaction we're going to have to life. And then we need to organize life so that it's a place that we want to just live in, right? Our everyday today needs to be good. We need to be able to reflect on pleasant things that happened to us in the past, make plans for excellent things that are going to happen to us in the future. And in that way, we create for ourselves over the long term a life that's secure and gentle and nice and pleasant, but also a life that generates these valuable and fulfilling experiences, whether that's through career achievement, the relationships we have, the sort of political, religious, moral goals that we might be pursuing, or a range of other things besides. That's how we're going to secure that pleasant life, by getting us the right attitude. Then we also need to think about the right character traits. Things like being a pleasant person, being the kind of person that people want to be friends with, having integrity so that you can stick to your morals, stick to your goals, stick to your values, and self-actualize to become the person you would ideally like to be. That's the topic of part 4. Part 4 is all about self-actualization, how to become a person that you would ideally like to be and that you feel a responsibility to be. So you're not just a good person in the sense that people value and celebrate you, but also that they appreciate you, they respect you, they think that you're a good person. A big part of that self-actualization process is being able to understand the signals and information that we get from our emotions. Every day, all sorts of things will happen to you, and often you'll react to them in an emotional way. And even when things aren't happening, you might still be feeling a lot of emotions. Those emotions are telling you something. Emotion is a signaling device. When you get afraid, it's a signal from your body that this is a dangerous situation, that you need to be alert here and probably you need to leave. Your eyes get wide, your pupils dilate so that you can see better. If you get really shocked, the first thing you do, take a huge breath in case you need to run. So these are all the kind of ways that we're wired to have a complex interaction between our emotional responses, our motor responses, so our physical and biological responses, and then our psychologically and rational responses to the things that are happening. When you go about your life thinking about what kind of career you want to have, what kind of people you want to be friends with, who you want to sleep with, who you want to get married to, what sort of schools you want to send your kids to, what sort of cereal you want to buy. These are all things that are actually often going to give you emotional feedback. It might be motivational feedback. It might be like, I feel really exhausted when I do this. In contrast, this is something that I just want to spend all my time doing, this hobby that I love. Right? These are all important signals, and the book teaches you how to introspect on those signals, how to think about them, how to unpack them, how to tease apart their complexities, and use that information to guide yourself through life to a kind of life, a way of living that's going to bring you pleasantness, fulfilling sensations, and a sense that what you're doing is valuable, that it has meaning, that it has purpose. Now, a lot of that sort of endeavor is something that you're going to do with other people. One of the biggest things that's missing from the kind of general self-improvement literature, the self-help literature, is the fact that well-being and happiness is broadly dependent on other people and something that we do with other people. There's a crucial role in well-being for community, solidarity, friendships, relationships, all this kind of stuff. So the final chapter in part 2, chapter 6, is called Better Together, and it's all about that sort of stuff. It's about how you develop emotional intelligence so that you can be more functional around other people. It's about how to become a priest for your little community. And I don't mean necessarily a religious priest, I just mean someone who recognizes their role in a social network, understands how the other people in that network are embedded socially, and can offer care to those people and advice in a way that is commensurate and related and sensible with respect to all the different kind of social relationships they have. Some other big themes of chapter 6 is about getting back to karmic culture. So a culture where we help each other, care for each other, and we're generous, not because we expect anything in exchange, not even out of reciprocity, and certainly not out of some kind of commercial relationship that we have for people where we pay them for customer service. Ugh, that's gross. What we need instead is a situation where we care for each other because we want to live in the kind of world where people care for each other, where we know that I'll care for you now because I can, and in the future when I need someone to care for me, there'll be someone around to do it, because that's the kind of world that we live in. Now, the challenge that we face with a lot of this community stuff in the present moment is that community tends to be based on shared values, and more importantly than that, even shared culture, the kind of art, ritual, customs, practices and behaviors that we do together to reinforce that we're all part of the same group, we all care about the same sort of things. Even something as simple as a 4th of July celebration in America, but also going to church, these kind of things that have traditionally been done by humans to create social glue. The problem that we face today is that a lot of that glue has dissolved. There are very few thick cultural practices that continue to sustain communities, continue to sustain this sense of solidarity. We need to rebuild that cultural glue, and that starts by thinking a bit less about what is going on in my life, what am I trying to achieve, and thinking a bit more about we. What are we about? What are we trying to achieve? What do we want to achieve? What do we want to be about? What are our values, and how are we going to practice those values together? And this really brings us to the issue of nihilism, which is that historically we have always tried to find these values out there in the universe somehow. We've thought that they were a metaphysical question, something that we can get to by thinking about God, or something that we can get to by doing a lot of hard rational thinking, as the philosophers tend to do, about what is the moral truth. Lately, there has been a growing suspicion, I would say, among the public that morality is not like that. It's actually subjective. Everybody cares about different things. There are certain things that the vast majority of people find deplorable, and so we can make laws about those kind of things. But it's not really seemingly the case that values exist out there. Values emerge from us, and certainly if they exist out there, we can't prove that, and it's really about how much we believe. So it always comes back to the individuals and their own lived experiences of being moral agents. This is the substance of part 3 of the book. It's about how we think about our values individually and collectively with other people so that we can achieve well-being together by practicing values together and feeling like we're part of communities, feeling like we're part of large projects that many people find meaningful, many people find worth pursuing. And that drives into the final chapter of the book, which is on metamodernity. So some of you may have heard that postmodernism has been this period over the last 30 years or so in which we've ended up in this kind of nihilistic swamp where nothing seems to matter anymore, everyone's just in it for themselves, nothing's sacred, no one cares about anything. And you have a lot of commentators like Jordan Peterson, for example, saying that we need to get back to what we had before postmodernism. We need to get back to religion, tradition, family values, this sort of stuff. Now, I don't deny that there is a lot of really good value in that stuff and that we do need to rescue a lot of things from our traditional cultures, our traditional value sets, and our traditional maps of meaning. But it's also, I think, undeniably the case that the reason why those things aren't popular anymore is because they just don't work for people anymore. The world has moved on, the world has changed, And so we need to come up with a new way of being together where each of us individually puts forward our values and says, hey, this is what I care about. I really like indoor gardening, or I really like making matchsticks models of the Titanic, whatever it might be. I'm going to be over here doing my thing, having a great time, like a lot of Reddit communities do. And if you're interested in what I'm doing, then come over here, let's hang out, let's do it together, let's share and celebrate our values. And obviously there's a lot of politics that goes with that. Obviously there's a lot of complexities. That's why you got to read the book, because I'm going to hit you with the depth there. So I want to stress again, this book, it's funny, it's accessible, but it's also deep and it's serious. It's not going to play you for a fool. It's not going to say that there's just like one weird trick to happiness, or this is easy. You just need to like start keeping a diary every night and everything will be fine. Happiness is complicated. It's hard. It's deep, but this book has everything you need in it, and it's written in a way that makes it easy to read, easy to absorb all that complexity and sophistication. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it if these are the kind of themes you think about. I'm going to be giving chapter summaries over the next few weeks up here on the channel, up here on TikTok, whatever it might be that I'm posting this to. So please keep an eye out. And if any of it strikes your fancy, please go pick up the book. Should be available in all good bookstores from 10th of April and already available on Amazon and other online retailers. Talk to you soon.